They tied my wrists to the bars, hoisted me until my shoulders snapped like wishbones, and left me dangling like a jacket on a nail. A guard leaned in, almost tender, and whispered, "Now you'll feel crucifixion before you meet your God." I was 19, weighed maybe 58 kilos, and I hung there for 2 days straight. Welcome to Branch 215, Damascus. I'm Omar al-Masri. I'm still breathing only because I refuse to quit. Most places, a knock means a parcel or your neighbor borrowing sugar. In Assad, Syria, it meant a white Kia minibus idling outside, two guys with fresh buzz cuts, and daylight disappearing for years. From 2011 to 2024, over 150,000 people vanished that way. No trial, no phone call. Your mom might get a photocopied warrant 2 weeks later, if she was lucky. I grew up in Daria, just south of Damascus. Dad sold cucumbers on Fridays. I sprayed cars, hit the gym, slid into girls' DMs. Then the protests started. Kids with flags, songs, and that wild hope you can taste. The regime answered with shells and snipers, plus an Excel sheet of names. Mine landed on it after I carried a bleeding protester to a makeshift clinic. 3 nights later, the white minibus rolled up. From the outside, the building looked boring. 4 floors of gray stone, a flickering Pepsi sign next door. Inside, it reeked of bleach and rust. They stripped me to my underwear, scrawled 2789 on my chest in marker, and shoved me down a hallway lit by buzzing fluorescents. Every 10 meters, a metal door opened onto walls freckled reddish-brown. A guard kicked my legs out, and I hit the tiles, my first crucifixion. They call it shabeh, ghosting. Stand on a chair, wrists tied to a pipe or window bars, then the chair's gone. Your weight yanks the shoulders out. Most guys black out in an hour. I lasted 6 because I was light. When they cut me down, I couldn't raise my arms for a week. The pain wasn't sharp. It was this dull roar that never shut up. Human rights reports mention beatings, electrocution, the flying carpet, the tire. They skipped the weird DIY touches. In Branch 215, they used 2 bed frame slats as a crossbeam, tied your wrists so your body made AT. Every time you sagged, a guard flicked your foot with a cable. Scream, and they stuffed a rag in your mouth. After an hour, your lungs gurgled. After 4, blood seeped from under your nails. I counted 12 of us hanging that night, 12 coats on hooks. Rami, an engineer from Homs, held out 9 hours the first time. When they cut him down, his elbows stayed bent like a broken action figure. A week later, they hung him again. He didn't make it. They rolled him in a blanket, 2789, B on the tag, and carried him out. We never found the grave. It's not about information. Half of us knew nothing worth confessing. It's theater. A crucified prisoner screams. The scream rides the vents into every corridor. The next man hears it and signs whatever paper they wave. The regime figured out bodies speak louder than words. The UN later called it a policy of terror to crush dissent. UN speak for, we nailed people to doors. Branch 215's nickname was Branch of the End. In the basement, they kept tombs, cells so low you crawled. Mine fit 23 guys into 4 square meters, 1 hole in the corner for a toilet, a bulb that never died. The air tasted of diesel, sweat, and panic. Every dawn, guards dragged someone out. Some came back on stretchers, most didn't. Food. Once a day, scrap of bread, smear of lentils. Water dripped from a pipe overhead. I dropped 25 kilos in 5 months. My ribs looked like a xylophone. One night, they dragged in a kid in a Real Madrid jersey, maybe 15, because his brother had posted protest songs on YouTube. They hung him on the beam. He cried for his mother until the sun came up, then he just stopped. When Assad fell in December 2024, activists found warehouses of files in Meza and Kafr Sousa. One folder held 25,000 death certificates signed by army doctors. Another listed cause, heart attack, for men whose photos showed wrists flayed and knees crushed. The Syrian Network for Human Rights now counts 15,102 confirmed deaths under torture. Real numbers, real people. My cousin, 2788, is one of them. On December 8th, the gates opened, and I walked out blinking at the sun like I'd been born again. My mom stared for 20 seconds before she realized who I was. My little brother had grown 3 inches. I tried to lift him, and my shoulder clicked like a bad hinge. Friends asked if I felt happy. Mostly, I felt guilty. 2789 breathed while 2788 stayed in a plastic bag. If you're still missing someone, The Syrian Emergency Task Force is building a national registry. Links in the description. Maybe we locate the bodies. Maybe we bury them. Not justice, but it's something. The colonel who signed my warrant, Omar al-Masri, flew to Moscow a week before the regime folded. His family runs a kebab shop in Grozny now. Interpol lists him wanted for crimes against humanity. Yet every afternoon he flips lamb and chats about Champions League scores. Somewhere in Europe, another officer sips espresso and laughs. That ought to keep us awake. Universal jurisdiction cases are crawling through courts in Germany, France, Sweden. Ayad al-Gharib, a low-level officer, got 4.5 years in Koblenz. The judges called it a small step. Small is right. Assad's cousin still travels on a diplomatic passport. Survivors testify over glitchy video, voices warped, faces blurred. Sometimes it feels like ghosts testifying against ghosts. I'm not asking you to topple governments. Start tiny. If you're in Europe, email your MP. Ask why guys like Hassan get tourist visas. Drop $5 to the Commission for International Justice and Accountability. They're archiving every signature on every order. Share this. Say the names of the missing out loud. Dictators fear memory more than missiles. I used to paint cars. Midnight blue, candy apple red, colors that caught the sun and threw it back. Now I paint memories. The gray of branch 215 walls, the brown of Rami's blanket, the red drip of my own blood hitting concrete. Colors fade, but the outline stays. Lose the outline and the next knock could be for any of us. My number was 2789. Tomorrow it might be yours. Don't let the story end here.